Well, good morning. I'm opening up the shop today, and we're going to go look at some new chainsaws from Stihl, the MS 162, 172, and MS 182, and we're going to compare them, see what changes there are and what the difference is between those three saws. So let's go find them. Okay, so what do we have here? We have the new MS 162, MS 172C, and MS 180C. There's also a MS 180 without the C. I didn't have it, so whatever. We'll talk about the differences. But these saws replace the 170, the 171, the 180, the 180C, the 181, and the 181C. So let's compare this MS 170, which is your entry-level Stihl homeowner chainsaw, to the 162, which is now the entry-level Stihl chainsaw. Technical specs, I won't get too deep into the weeds. You're pretty much the same power between the 170 and the 162. The 162 does weigh a tiny bit more. There's more displacement in the engine, but just a tiny bit less power, a teensy bit. The one thing I never loved on the 170 and 171 is where this tensioner is. You gotta get your scrunch in there on the front by the bar. It's a pain in the neck. I did like how on the back there's just one screw you undo to take your top off to get to your spark plug and your air filter, but they've eliminated that on these new 2 series saws. You got about 3 screws on the top you got to unscrew, once a year when you change your filters if you're being a good saw owner. Other than that, kind of bulgy, futuristic, I guess, look. I don't know, these are these kind of rounded soft lines you see on a lot of stuff. But all these saws now have these springs, so it's a reduction in vibration from the saw, which is nice. And translucent tanks front and back, so your bar oil and your fuel, you can see how much you have. And then on the side panel, a side tensioner rather than the front tensioner, and only one nut to hold on to that chain cover. Overall, though, pretty similar saws with a couple changes. One of the biggest changes is the increase of weight. The new saws do weigh a little bit more than their predecessors. So the thing I like about the 162 is they kept with this chunky choke selector. They had eliminated that on the 171 and 181. I don't know why. This is a nice selector. It feels good under your thumb. One thing to note here is they got these new fancy light bars. The light bar, by the way, that script is right out of the 80s. The light bar on this 162 doesn't have a sprocket on the tip. So it's still a 3/8 Pico 04355. So if you have chains from an old 170 or 171, they'll still work. But no sprocket on the tip. So this is a true entry-level saw. They actually recommend you replace this with a bar with the sprocket on the tip. You can kind of hear that. Your chain's going around the tip of that saw without a lot of help. It can add wear and tear to that bar. So what's the difference between the 162 and the 172 then? Okay, the 172 is a C saw. C saw? It's got its ups and downs. The C version has an easy start. You can tell because it's kind of a bulged out pull start on the side. Some people don't like an easy start. I personally think it's great. They just start easier. You don't have to yank on them real hard. And I think that's a good thing to see in a homeowner grade saw. So I'm happy they stuck with it. You still got your translucent oil reservoir and fuel reservoir. But the bar on the 172 does have a sprocket. We'll look at that in a sec. For some reason, this is the old bar. I thought they were moving all to the new bars, but whatever. Still have the side tensioner, and 1 bar nut. That might raise some eyebrows. And they stuck with this anti-vibration system underneath. Did you notice that the underside of the saw kind of has, I don't know, more space under it? I don't know what's going on there. And yeah, here's the bar again, 3/8 Pico 04355, but it has a sprocket on the tip. That'll save you money down the road on replacing bars and maybe some wear and tear on the chain. And then we got the 182. Okay, so the 182 comes in a 182 and a 182C. C adds convenience features, mostly being the easy start, but you'll see we have some toolless fuel and oil caps on the side. Some people hate those. I like them. Once again, you don't have to get out your scrunch to open your fuel or your oil, but you know, whatever. I don't think they wear out as fast as the old fuel and oil caps either. And again, the Stihl Light 04 bar, I mean, just straight out of the 80s. Look at this design. I guess it's kind of cool, man. And then on the side, toolless tensioner and toolless chain cover. Some people don't like these. I like them. This is how they're making these 182s now. So the 182, again, versus the 182C, the C is going to have an easy start on it, but otherwise toolless stuff, which, again, I think is kind of nice. Same underside with this kind of carved out area underneath. If we compare the outgoing 180 and 181 to the 182, again, it's got that really nice lock on the top on the old one that I like for getting into your air filter and your spark plug. The 82, the 72, 62 use 4 screws. I don't know why. And a solid bottom. So I don't know why they made that change, but you know, whatever. And this is a C version again, so the outgoing Cs all had a toolless tensioner and side cover. 182 though, C, toolless on a lot of stuff. They really like this toolless stuff. So, I don't know. Some people won't like that, but if I was to buy one of these saws, I'd buy the 182. It's more powerful than the outgoing 180. I like having these translucent tanks. Eventually they'll yellow up and you might be able to see, not be able to see the fluid as well, but whatever, I'll hope. And they did add bumper spikes when you go to the 182. So that's a change from the 172 and 162 is metal bumper spikes. So a lot of improvements on this saw. I don't think they look too bad either. So I don't know, I guess we're out with the old, in with the new. Whether you like it or not. The new saws, a little heavier, a little more power output, a little less emissions is the selling point they're saying. And okay, that's all I know. Hope you guys have a great one. See ya.